Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Just a quick reminder that I do have a Facebook and Twitter that I use quite regularly, so if you'd like to follow those, links are in the description. Now, let's get to the story, shall we? If you ask an average group of people what scares them most, you'd probably be able to guess most of the answers. Spiders, heights, clowns, public speaking, maybe a few oddballs like a quicksand or being cheese grated to death. But poll the average person and you'd find that the same fears run through 99% of the population. Not me, though. I'm afraid of being happy. Not in the my heart is an island bullshit kind of way. I don't spend my time listening to sappy songs and dissolving into some self-pitying pool of useless human. My dad was like that. He refused to be happy. All he did was complain. Nothing was good enough, not even alcohol made him happy. Fucking loser. No. I'm not like that. Oh, I would love to be happy. I'd give my life if I could have one purely happy moment. A second of bliss without any repercussions. To taste such a sweet minute probably wouldn't make any sense to me. Like that story about the people in the cave. They came out walking on their hands. Misery is my cave, and my hands are torn and bloody. It started when I was a kid. I don't remember much until around the age of 7. Before that is mostly a blur of my father yelling and my mother apologizing. Nothing felt safe or comfortable. I once watched the movie Homeward Bound, you know, the one with the dogs and the cat. All of the kids in that movie were so lucky. They had parents who loved them, a solid home, and even some death-defying pets as a damn cherry on top. I wonder what that would have been like. My first concrete memory was when I brought home a stray kitten. He was orange and black. I didn't name him. I was too afraid of losing him to really enjoy him. He hid under my bed all day, and I fell asleep. When I woke up, he had slipped out the door. My dad killed him with a hammer. He claimed he thought it was a rat. The kitten's dead body was still on the carpet when I walked into the living room that morning. My mom cleaned it up without comment. I must have cried for days. So, yeah, that was what my childhood was like. I didn't know about happiness. The closest I ever got was a big meal or a night when my dad was out at the bar. Even then, Mum didn't do much in the way of loving. She kept her distance from me. I never really understood her. I made a friend once, in the beginning of middle school. Her name was Keisha and she had thick pigtails. That's all I remember about her now. I was hesitant at first. No one showed me any kindness, so when she offered to share a sandwich with me, I was instantly suspicious. It took a few days for me to truly accept her friendship. I think I smiled wider than I ever had before. A few minutes later, another kid stabbed Keisha with a pencil. Right through her eye! It stuck out like an awkward tree branch. Her eyeball was a deflated balloon. Everyone was screaming, and the older kid was just babbling incoherently. I think he got off with a warning, since we were so young. He said he didn't know why he did it. He just felt like he had to. Keisha's parents pulled her out of school, and I never saw her again. The kid and Keisha, when I felt happy, something awful happened. Even a small thing like a good grade was rewarded with my teacher miscarrying in front of the entire class. A pretty girl invited me to a party at her house, and the entire building went up in flames only 10 minutes after I arrived. My joy was always someone else's misery. I tried to talk to my mum about it, but she slammed her bedroom door in my face. I dropped out of school the next day. I spent the next few years living in my parents' house, enduring the abuse of my father and the neglect of my mother. I worked in various fast food joints. It was a daily routine of overflowing sadness. I suppose it wasn't much different than my childhood. I didn't fully put it together until the accident. The big one. The one that made it all clear. I was working at Taco Bell at the time. It was going fine, except for those stupid purple shirts they made us wear. But on this particular day, everything was going wrong. Customers were yelling, we ran out of beef, and my manager decided to make my life hell. I was beaten down from the minute I walked in. Even though I had to stay 2 extra hours to cover someone else's shift, I made it out before 5 p.m. I walked home quietly as usual. On the way, someone threw a soda at me from their car. They must have seen the Taco Bell shirt and thought it would be funny. It wasn't. I walked the rest of the way home soaking wet. To this day, I wonder if my day had gone better, maybe all of it never would have materialized. If that jerk hadn't thrown a drink at me, maybe it would have just been a normal, terrible day. But it's stupid to think about what ifs. What happened is what was meant to happen. And anyways, it was bound to happen sometime. I got home and found my mother on the floor, a large bruise spreading like fire over the side of her jaw. My dad's fists were still balled. The look of rage in his eyes was nothing new, but he had never hit her before. Things had been thrown, words had been screamed, but never this. It never got physical. And at that moment, something snapped in me. My entire life came crashing down onto my spine. I was done. So I charged him. I slammed my entire body into his. He toppled over like a beer bottle. His skull struck the linoleum of the kitchen. It made a sickening smack. My mother was yelling, "Stop! Stop it!" But it had already been done. He wasn't moving. She stood slowly. "What the hell did you do?" Drool dripped from the corner of my mouth. He deserved it. Something foreign tickled the back of my throat. "You fucking idiot." She flicked her bangs out of her eyes. "You have no idea what you just did." The coolness of her voice shook me out of my happiness coma. "It was an accident." "That doesn't matter." She reached to the counter and produced a small steak knife. "Ma? What are you doing?" I stepped towards her. I'll call the police. It's my fault. You won't get in trouble." I needed him. Without any emotion, she drew the knife across her chest. "Ma, stop!" I was afraid to move closer to her. Afraid she would hurt herself worse. "I probably should have told you sooner." She sliced her face. The shallow cuts drew thin tendrils of blood. But I thought maybe it had skipped a generation. The knife dug into her leg. "There's a letter in my bedside table. The lower drawer has a fake bottom." She cut her ear with one smooth motion. "Read it after I'm done." By this time I had overcome my fear and was next to her, trying to grab the knife. She wrestled with me. but I managed to knock the blade away. "Ma, what are you doing? You need a doctor." "I have to," she screamed. "I can't stop." She flailed against me, but I was stronger. Her blood got onto my clothes, she spit in my eyes, and for a second I loosened my grip. My mum ducked away and ran to the bathroom. She locked herself inside. I pounded on the door, but the lock held. "Why are you doing this?" I pleaded. Her voice did not waver. "You're doing this to me. It's because of you." Quickly, I dialed 911. I tried to explain what was happening, but the responder stopped me. "Do you live near Ashland Ave?" I paused in surprise. "How did you—" "Officers are on their way. Please do not leave your home." She hung up on me. I kept the receiver to my ear long after her voice was gone. That's when I heard the gunshots. Not from my house, but from the one next door. And then, like a slap of a conductor's wand, a chorus of screams filled the air. They were coming from all directions. I dropped the phone and it broke into pieces on the floor, bits scattering all the way to my dad's dead body. I saw a small river of blood oozing from under the bathroom door. "Mom?" I knew she wouldn't reply. There were enough razor blades in the bathroom to shred her veins. The screaming continued. More gunshots, police sirens, any small piece of happiness remaining from the death of my dad was gone. It was replaced with something akin to numbness. Mechanically, I walked upstairs into my parents' bedroom. The noises outside were drowned out by the robotics of my thoughts. The bedside table stood mockingly low. I bent down and opened the lower drawer. It slid out easily. I hooked my fingernails around the bottom and peeled it up. Beneath it was a single sheet of paper. "Son, you must hate me. At least, I hope you do. I've done everything I can do to make you hate me. I can't get myself to hate you, that's a failing on my part. But your father will be brutal enough for us both. I won't apologize for your life, because even though I'm responsible, it had to be this way. I grew up exactly the same. I know that's not much consolation to you, but I promise our family has been living in misery for generations. It might as well be part of our DNA. It is our DNA that's the problem. Well, specifically our pheromones. Did you know that pheromones change depending on your mood? You can't notice these changes, but they exist. Humans give off different pheromones, and without anyone knowing, it affects those around us. Our family is unique. I guess you could say our pheromones are stronger than average humans. It only happens when we feel happiness. Any small joyful emotion goes out into the world and creates chaos. It has always been that way for us. Your grandmother tried to find out why, but if she got anywhere close to an answer, the destruction her happiness would cause was too much to bear. Her joy made an entire hospital of women miscarry. Every single woman. Many of them also became barren, just because of her pheromones. So you have to understand, I know how awful your father is. That's why I picked him. I have to be miserable in order to protect everyone else. You were never supposed to be born. I wanted the line to end with me. But when I got pregnant, an abortion would have made me happy, so I couldn't do it. I had to give birth to you. You are a horrible, horrible mistake. I'm writing this on your first birthday. You've been laughing a lot recently. It's been awful. The neighborhood dogs are getting sick. I had to feed you expired food to get you to cry more. I hate you. I have to hate you. So now you know. We can't be happy. It's impossible. It will cause too much pain and death. I can't even kill myself. The relief of it being over might just cause a genocide. Do what you want with this information. Just make the right choice. Your happiness is not as important as the world around you. Don't be selfish. Your lifetime of misery is meaningless. And so is mine. The outcome of my happiness caused the deaths of over 50 people and injured 100 more. It affected everyone within 500 feet. My next-door neighbor killed his entire family with a shotgun. 2 runners got hit by a car who then went on to crash into a tree. A group of preschool kids swallowed bleach. So many people died or were hurt just because I was happy that my dad was dead. My few moments of bliss caused untold damage. My mother died of blood loss. She was smiling when the police got the door open. That is why I'm afraid of being happy. So now I'm completely alone. The deaths of those people weigh heavily on me every single day. I can't escape it. I don't want to. If I forget or give myself even a minute to breathe, I might hurt someone else. And this is how I will exist until I die. Alone, miserable, and safe from happiness. But there's one more thing. One more brick of guilt that closes me up inside. I know about our family's curse. But my older brother, the one who ran away at 13, doesn't. Oh God, I wonder how many people he's killed without knowing it.